After leaving the academy, Maddie's party heads toward the nearby Melkia dungeon to investigate its dragon vein. Luri and Alma start planning for the week-long trip, but Maddie suddenly tells them it would just take them one day. Maddie plans to pass through the forest of Chiki Risubia, infamous for a scary smart monster living in it. Inside the forest, the group decides to take a break so they can have lunch. Maddie ventures forward in the search of food. But instead he encounters the infamous monster, thus he returns with its corpse, scaring Luri and Alma. He also brought back a monster boar, which they all cook together. Luri and Alma are apprehensive about eating monster meat, but after seeing Iris happily eating, they try it and find it delicious. They then continue on their journey and by nightfall reach the dungeon city of Melkia. To their surprise, the city seems to be more dilapidated than they expected. They pass by a magical lamppost, and Maddie recognizes that instead of Magistone, the lamppost is directly tapped into the dragon's vein, making it prone to explode. A nearby vendor then explains that they used to use much safer Magistones, but the newly appointed lord prohibited it and exported all the Magistones instead. Their lord also commanded all the adventurers in town to clear the dungeon, getting them wiped out by a powerful monster and causing the city's dilapidated state. The group then heads to the nearby guild to get permission to enter the dungeon. While there, someone arrives asking for help. A large group of adventurers has just returned injured. Maddie and his friends rush to help them. He immediately triaged the wound and started healing them. A doctor tries to scold him for interrupting, but he implores them to work together to save them all. With their help, they successfully heal every single man. Maddie asks the doctor why the Lord suddenly changed, and the doctor explains that the previous one mysteriously passed away. Maddie suspects that the demons caused the death of the previous Lord and the actions of the new one. In their room, Maddie writes a hidden letter to the king asking for permission to arrest the city's Lord. Later that night, Maddie's friends sleep soundly while Maddie and Luri become conscious of each other's presence in the room. The next morning, they head into the nearby dungeon to check it out. They find out that the door is just made of iron, which increases Maddie's suspicion of the Lord. Later, they deliver the head of the strongest monster in the dungeon to the surprise guild. Maddie explains that the three girls defeated it, and the guild reports it to their lord. After having dinner, they are returning home when Maddie detects a couple of thugs following them. It was all proceeding according to Maddie's plan. Episode 8. Maddie telepathically warns his friends of the thugs surrounding them and tells them of his plans. They are most likely sent by the city lord, so Maddie uses a concealment spell to bait them out. The thugs rush in when they suddenly disappear, and Maddie nonchalantly asks them where the inn was. The thugs immediately capture and threaten to kill him if the girls don't stand down, since Maddie just healed the adventurers when they got injured while the girls defeated the monster. They thought he was weak. Maddie instructs the girls to take it easy on the thugs, so they just knock them out, and afterwards he puts a tracking spell on them. The next day they receive a message from the king instructing them to meet his representative. They head over to an abandoned mine, and inside they meet Iik, a knight sent by the king. The king had permitted them to arrest the Lord of Melkia. They then headed over to the Lord's estate. They are surprised to see no thugs guarding the building, so Maddie uses his magic to detect life signatures inside. The Lord seems to have focused all his forces inside to lull any intruders into complacency. Iik suggests they turn back and get reinforcements, but Maddie just smiles and breaks into the building. Together with his friends, he easily defeats all the waves of enemies. They cannot find the Lord, however, but Maddie discovers a hidden passageway leading underground. The Lord tries to send more thugs to stop them, but Maddie just blows them all away and arrests the Lord. He then notices a note warning the Lord of their arrival. It seems he got tipped off by someone, which explains how he's prepared so many guards. Maddie suspects that demons are using the Lord so they can access the dragon vein underneath the city and use it as a weapon. The building suddenly shakes and Maddie realizes that the demons have started tampering with the dragon vein, summoning a monster horde nearby. The horde would then reach the city in 2 hours, so they have to stop the demon before then. Maddie's party headed back to the dungeon to the dragon vein, but they didn't encounter any demons. Maddie suggests splitting into 2 parties. The girls will fix the dragon vein while Maddie handles the demons. Maddie heads deeper into the dungeon, defeating monsters until he finally finds the demon who tampered with the dragon vein. He detects that the demon is communicating with someone, so he uses his magic to tap into its communication. Maddie starts fighting the demon, but it seems to have a barrier that explodes when he attacks it. The demon also uses long-range magic to counteract Maddie's short-range specialty. It was clear that whoever was instructing the demon is very powerful. Moreover, there are numerous traps spread out all over the area. Thankfully, Maddie instructs Lori to dispel the traps and disrupt the demon's communication using the dragon vein. He then overloads the demon's barrier with magic and stabs him before it can explode. The demon powers up as his last resort, but Maddie just dodges his attacks and finally beheads him. Meanwhile, Lori successfully repairs the dragon vein, dispelling the monster horde outside. Maddie telepathically communicates with the mastermind demon, but the demon just taunts him before cutting the communication off. Episode 9. Maddie tells the others that the demon was being instructed by another, more powerful demon that they have to defeat. Thankfully, he was able to store its magic signature in a Magistone. They just have to trace it using an ancient device he created in his previous life. Unfortunately, it was in the neighboring country, the Rodinia Alliance. Maddie's party heads back to the capital to ask for the king's permission to cross the border. There, they see the headmaster leading reconstruction efforts at the school, so they decide to help him out. After successfully obtaining the king's permission, they head over to the Rodinia Alliance and successfully cross the border. However, they soon learned that Folkia, the town they needed to visit, is in a restricted area. They need to get Adventurer rank A to access it, therefore they head toward Rodinia's Adventurers Guild to increase their rank. The ranking test involves fighting a protector to showcase your skills, but a man named Giluas suddenly volunteers to be their protector. He is an S-rank adventurer who wants to try fighting the now famous Maddie. He immediately passes the girls and challenges Maddie to a duel. When the duel starts, Giluas's attacks push Maddie back. However, Maddie recognizes that Giluas is just using magic subconsciously to enhance his body. Later, he even copies Maddie's spell jumping technique. Maddie finally stops testing Giluas and easily beats him. He then advises him to study magic to further improve his skills. Giluas accepts his advice, but he still doesn't want to do any studying. Later, Giluas warns Maddie that Folkia is infamous for having adventurers missing, so they should be careful. When Maddie's party finally reaches the province of Folkia, the guards let them in, but Maddie detects a magical code inscribed on their passes. It was warning others of Maddie's party, and just on cue, a party of thugs appears on the horizon watching them. Maddie devises a plan to handle them and creates an illusion of Luri and Alma. He then alerts the thugs to their presence, who immediately start shooting arrows at him. While they are busy with Maddie and Iris, the real Luri and Alma sneak up on the thugs and both open the magic device Maddie gave them. This puts the thugs to sleep. As a result of the same magic device, both girls fall asleep as well. Episode 10. Iris gets a silly idea and starts drawing on Alma's sleeping face. The two finally wake up after Maddie uses magic on them, and they apologize for misusing the item. They finally reach Folkia, but it was covered by smoke, and they can feel demonic energies scattered all over the town. Maddie tells them that they can probably sense the demonic signature because Folkia is already full of demons. Demons don't typically work in groups, but demidemons, an offshoot of the demon race, are probably the ones occupying the town. They don't use any unique spells, but they work in groups and fight as a team. The town's security is also fairly strict, but Maddie discovers a hidden passage, probably made by the demons. There was a single demon guarding the tunnel underneath, but Maddie just uses magic to sink through the stone and stun the guard. Inside the town, they find the citizens dazedly walking around as if they are all hypnotized. Maddie approaches one of them and casts a spell on him. He learns that they are all under a spell called Thought Paralysis. They then follow the citizens as they march towards a factory. There, a demon casts Thought Paralysis on the citizens and lets them in. Maddie's party decides to infiltrate the building by pretending to be hypnotized. First, Maddie casts a protection spell on each of them, and they amble toward the factory entrance. Iris trips and falls, but thankfully, the demon just thinks she had too much Thought Paralysis put on her. Inside the factory, they are shocked at the size of the operation. Everyone is busy refining magic crystals that can be used in explosives. Now aware of the state of Folkia, Maddie's party has only one thing left to do. The demons need to be defeated and liberate the town. Maddie tells them that the demi-demons share a consciousness, so that would mean killing one of them would alert the others. However, they can't also defeat them in a frontal assault. Thankfully, Maddie has a plan to use their teamwork against them. A short while later, a powerful magic beam shoots out of the town, alerting the demons patrolling the area. All the demons rush into the site while their leader watches and coordinates from afar. They finally find Iris at the site of the beam, but a demon was instantly killed by Maddie. The demons are getting picked off one by one as they report to different locations. Maddie planned to use their shared consciousness to spread confusion and misinformation among the enemy's ranks, and it was working. The leader finally realizes what is happening and commands everyone to stick together. The leader plans to use the magic crystals to blow the whole town up, but before he can do so, they get attacked. However, it wasn't Maddie that attacked them, but Gilluas. Gilluas gets surrounded by demons, but Maddie finally arrives and kills some of them. He and Iris defeat the other demons while Gilluas handles their leader. Maddie sees Gilluas has already improved, but the demon leader is equally strong. Gilluas finally manages to defeat the demon, but he also falls due to his injuries. Episode number 11. Maddie's party was about to heal Gilluas when the demon leader suddenly stood up with his eyes gleaming red. The demon attacks them, but Maddie parries his sword. The demon suddenly speaks and acknowledges Maddie. It tells them that he is about to destroy the seal and completely revive. The demon then disintegrates, and Maddie realizes that the only demon powerful enough to control a dead body is the big boss back in Melchia's dungeon. They then heal Gilluas, and Gilluas uses his authority as an S-rank adventurer to appoint a temporary lord of the region. Afterward, the four head to the ancient device to find the big boss demon. Alma and Luri are amazed to find such a treasure from a long-lost civilization, while Maddie just laughs and can't bear to tell them that he was the one who made it in the past. Maddie then uses magic to open up the structure and jump inside. Maddie then tells the girls to find treasures they might be able to use while he configures the ancient device. Lori comes back bearing a sword, which Maddie recognizes as one he made, just to look cool. Meanwhile, Alma discovers an extremely large and heavy spear. She suggests that Iris might be able to use it, but Maddie warns her that Iris would most probably just destroy her environment if she uses it. Lastly, Iris comes running with some food she found. It is a box of canned foods, but Maddie warns her it has been over a millennium. Afterward, Maddie starts the process of tracking down the enemy demon. He uses a cog from the factory in Folkia and learns that his hunch was right, and the demon who is creating all those explosives is the same demon who was the mastermind back in Melchia. He then uses the magical signature he obtained in the dungeon in Melchia and finally learns who their enemy is. It is a chaos demon named Zardias, and he is about to get out of his seal. Maddie sadly tells his companions that the only way they can defeat him is if they train for hundreds of years. The girls despair over their situation while Iris wonders if they can use the weapons the girls found to fight Zardias. This gives Maddie an idea, and he quickly places the sword on the ancient device. He plans to look for the weapons he made in the past because one of them has enough power to defeat Zardias. To their surprise, it was in the capital of their kingdom. Meanwhile, Zardias finally breaks free of his seal. On the way back to the capital, Maddie gives the girls Magistones to detect the magic sword while he plans to delay Zardias. The barrier over the capital should prevent other demons from coming in, but Zardias is too powerful for it. The girls jump off Iris and plunge into the capital. Following their Magistones, they rush to the castle's treasure room. Meanwhile, Maddie and Iris prepare themselves to face Zardias. When the space around the capital starts to break as Zardias arrives, Maddie immediately attacks. However, he fails to prevent Zardias from emerging. Iris uses Dragon Breath to blast away Zardias, but he once again just absorbs the hit. They start to fight, but Zardias attacks Iris, forcing Maddie to use magic to defend her. Down in the castle, the treasury room guard stops Lori and Alma from breaking into the treasury room. They try to plead for him to let them enter since they don't have any more time, but the guard reiterates they need the king's permission. They almost come to blows, but the king finally arrives and lets them in. Outside, Maddie is getting beaten up by Zardias' attacks. He has no choice but to use his last resort, convert his life force into magic. Episode number 12. Lori and Alma locate the magic sword in the treasury and they rush back outside to give it to Maddie. Meanwhile, Zardius keeps sending out magical attacks at the capital, forcing Maddie to expend magic to maintain its barriers. However, Zardius instead resurrects all the demons already inside the capital from the previous invasion. The resurrected demon stops Lori and Alma in their tracks and forces them to spend precious time fighting instead. Another demon appears and threatens to kill some hostages if Lori and Alma don't stand down. Meanwhile, Maddie is at a serious disadvantage since he has to protect the capital and Iris from Zardius' attacks. His precarious situation makes Maddie consider activating his reincarnation spell and trying to send it in his next life. However, he suddenly remembers the moments he had with Lori, Alma, and Iris, and he realizes that he doesn't want to give up on this era. Down on the ground, the girls receive reinforcements in the form of the headmaster and other students. They then help the girls save the hostages. Maddie and Iris both attack Zardius, but Zardius sends Iris careening down to the ground below. Thankfully, Lori and Alma finally arrive, and they throw the sword at him. Maddie catches the sword, but at that moment, Zardius stabs him in the back, ending the fight. Maddie falls to the ground below while the others can only cry in shock. Then, Maddie's sword suddenly emits a brilliant light that envelops Maddie. He then flies back up into the air and confronts Zardius. It turns out that the sword's power is activated by the death of its wielder, which will resurrect him and give him a tremendous infusion of magic. They renew their battle once again, and this time, Maddie proves to be the stronger one as he kills Zardius. He falls to the ground and Lori tackles him in a big hug. The headmaster then arrives and reports that everyone is now safe, and all the demons have been vanquished. Before they retire, Maddie expels the remaining magic from his sword, since it's a one-time use item. The next day, Maddie's party is congratulated by the king for saving the kingdom again. He grants each of them a wish, which Maddie finds extremely fortunate, since he was worried that the king might ask for the destroyed sword back. The king lets them get any treasure they might want from the treasury, and Maddie finds an arrow that he once made in the past. He asks the guard where its bow might be, but sadly, they already sold it since it was so rusty. Maddie realizes that the kingdom must not have recognized the precious metal in the bow, so they head to the shop that acquired the bow. Unfortunately, it was already refined into metal blocks by the shop, but Maddie still buys it. While looking around, Maddie notices Lori looking at some necklaces. He's about to buy one for her when Alma whispers to him that there is a better way. After shopping, the headmaster calls them due to another incident. There was an attack near their border, but it was instigated by weird wooden puppets. Maddie studies the puppets and realizes that it is most probably created by a demon, meaning their neighboring country already is controlled by them. Thus, the knights ask for Maddie's help again. Late that night, Maddie invites Lori out so that he can give her his present. It was a necklace he crafted with magic. The next day, they set out again on their new quest, with Maddie happy that their adventure is only going to get more entertaining. Hope you guys enjoyed this recap. Please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to our channel to get updates about our latest recaps. We'll see you in the next one.